Now, you will have the privilege of listening to such an outstanding young lady. 17-year-old Sonia C Bazinga from Sri Lanka, who was an international recipient of the YWPA Award in 2017. She recently graduated from the British School in Colombo, where she was an active leader and a senior prefect. She was also a member of the Z Club of Colombo, which received the first place Emma L. Conlon Service Award in 2017 under Sanya's leadership as then president-elect of this club. Saanya is also actively engaged in international affairs and notably interested in women's causes. Eliminating domestic violence, especially in developing countries, achieving gender equality and empowerment of women are her main goals, and she has already shown her commitment to achieving these goals. She has worked closely with Padagama Maternity Clinic, helping to implement an efficient information dissemination system to ensure safety for expectant mothers. And while participating in Harvard University's Summer Leadership Program, she developed and pitched a project on eliminating domestic violence in Sri Lanka to students and professors of different countries. But let's hear what Saanya has to tell us. Dear Zontians, I have the privilege and the great pleasure to introduce Ms. Sonia C Bazinga to you. Dear Saanya, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the humbling introduction. Good morning, Madam President, dignitaries of Zonta International, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to stand here today speaking to you as a proud recipient of the 2017 International Young Women in Public Affairs Award. When I was around 11, I began noticing the disparity between the way that girls and boys were treated in my own school and my own country. I am privileged as a girl to have been given the opportunities that I had growing up, because there are still, to this day, an abundance of girls worldwide who are denied their fundamental rights to participate in activities that I have often taken for granted. For those of you who don't know me, let me take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Sonia C Bazinga. I am 17 years old and I'm a recent graduate of the British School in Colombo, where I served as the head prefect. My involvement in service began in my school from a very young age, when I joined our school's community service club, HOPE, through which I was introduced to the world of service. As many things in a Sri Lankan school system go, I realized that you could only do so much during the school year, and decided to spend my summer holidays taking service initiatives into my own hands. Having visited the Badalgama village many times, I noticed the unfortunate disparity between the resources that its community had in comparison to the resources that were available to those in Sri Lanka's commercial capital, Colombo. This realization led me to initiate a few projects over the years, which focused particularly on the village in Badalgama, displayed in the above photographs. The first project was the Reading Project at the village's secondary school, pictured above. Reading has always been a passion of mine since childhood, and therefore the book drive to improve the Badalgama School's library was one close to my heart. Another project that I led in the Badalgama Mahavidyalaya, the secondary school, was the project Safety First, which involved raising funds for the installation of a main gate at the entrance of the school. Finally, the project that I personally found most engaging was the project Plants Are Medicine, which involved fundraising to purchase medicinal plantlings which we planted in the school's backyard. Phase 2 of the project focused on the search for a professional Ayurvedic teacher who would be able to use these budding herbs during after-school lessons to provide the girls at the school with an abundance of knowledge on Ayurvedic medicine. These lessons helped create a foundation for these girls to pursue a career in Ayurvedic medicine which helped provide them with new economic opportunities. These girls no longer had to resort to working in manual labor, which is what the majority of the children in that area grow up to work in. I also spent some time with the Badalgama Maternity Clinic, working to implement an efficient information dissemination system with the goal of providing the mothers with information on how to keep themselves and their babies healthy. This project aimed to resolve the severe lack of facilities in place to educate women on reproductive health. The South Asian community present in Sri Lanka harbors strict societal norms that govern the country, as well as traditional cultural beliefs that are often associated with patriarchal tendencies. However, I believe that I am extremely fortunate to have grown up on this island, as in comparison to other South Asian countries, Sri Lanka is considered a fairly matriarchal society, in which a majority of the country's GDP and revenue is generated by women. In 1960, Sri Lanka welcomed the world's first female prime minister, the Honorable Sirimavo Bandaranaike, and continues to have many female politicians who hold high positions of authority. However, female representation in Sri Lankan politics is still much lower than that of their male counterparts. Like many other countries in the world, women in Sri Lankan society still face systematic gender-based oppression that can sometimes be negatively amplified by the prevalent cultural mentalities. According to the Millennial Development Goals of the United Nations, Sri Lanka signed up to achieve the third goal on gender equality, which addresses the political representation of women in the national parliament. This is a goal that the country is now on its path to achieving. As a South Asian country, Sri Lanka is lucky to have avoided the extent of gender-based inequality that is undergone by women in our neighboring countries, and we often distinguish ourselves as a regional trendsetter on gender equity with regard to education and other social indicators. But it is evident that we too, just like all the other countries in the world, have a long way to go before we can reach a state of total equality. Women have severely lower chances of getting into the workforce than men, and even if they wrestle against the odds and find a way to get hired, they are soon met with the next obstacle, which is unfair wage discrimination between males and females. According to the World Bank, despite the obstacles women face in finding employment, they are still the largest contributor to household income, with 19.5% of women in Sri Lanka contributing family workers, while only 2.7% of males do so. Sri Lankan women have shown extreme resilience to arrive at this statistic, despite even the most obvious disadvantage that they are faced with. In the private sector, female workers can earn anywhere between 30 to 36% less than their male counterparts for doing exactly the same job. However, this should not be the case. Women have had to try harder and speak louder for their voices to be heard. Emma Watson's recent speech at her He for She campaign at the UN resonated with me, as she was pontificating that women should be speaking up and speaking out with one thing in mind, in Hillary Clinton's words themselves: women's rights are human's rights, and human's rights are women's rights. Receiving the International Young Women in Public Affairs Award was not only a great honor and privilege, it was a source of motivation that urged me to continue in this journey for women's empowerment. I am deeply thankful to Zonta International for recognizing my efforts and selecting me for this prestigious award, as it serves as my reminder to not give up. The journey to achieving gender equality is far from over, and we have a long way to go to finally reach the point where the world is a place where men and women can be treated equally and given equal opportunities. I am fortunate enough to have been offered a place to read a joint degree of economics and political science at Columbia University in the city of New York starting this fall. Moving to New York is highly exciting, as it allows me to live in the epicenter of the world, providing me with endless opportunities to continue my women's rights activism by participating and learning from the numerous campaigns that take place every day in New York City. Following my bachelor's degree, I hope to pursue a law degree that will enable me to return to my country and join the public sector workforce in order to engage in future activism with one aim in mind: to start changing the status of women and raise awareness, starting from my little island and evolving to a more global playing field towards the worldwide movement. My fight for equality is just beginning, alongside the rest of my generation. The future is stepping up now. I'm constantly surrounded by conversations that I had never heard before. Issues like representation, gender-based violence, consent, destroying stereotypical ideals have become classroom conversations The pace is increasing, and the movement is advancing. I do believe that soon we will reach our end goal. I just want to take a moment to appreciate the fact that I'm surrounded by all this energy. To all the other YWPA awardees, I appreciate you for spreading this positive energy and for showing me the strength in the solidarity of our generation and our shared goal. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation for the strong and powerful women in this room and the work that you are all dedicated and committed to achieving. You truly are inspirational. See, as a teenager, I'm often uncertain of myself. Most of the time, I'm not sure if I'm saying the right things, if I'm even supposed to be here. I'm constantly moving through different phases of life, through high school, onto college now, and I'm faced with different obstacles daily. But it is you and your generation that have shown me the power in not giving up and fighting for what I believe in. We have come so far in the name of equality, from the initial suffragettes, voting rights, the Equal Rights Amendment, to reproductive freedom. So much has been achieved by those who came before us. The time is now for my generation to take our place in this long line of strong women fighting for our fundamental rights. For me, this award is about giving back to the community that has led me to where I am today. I will forever be thankful for being given the opportunity to live and learn as an equal in my wonderful island home, and hope that through my work in service, I am able to make Sri Lanka proud. As a young woman in society, I would like to once again thank Zonta International for presenting me with this award. Let it serve as a reminder to never let your voice be silenced and to fight on for the empowerment of women. This is my generation, and this is what we have to say today and always. I sincerely thank you for all that you have contributed to this movement, for we would not even be having these conversations if not for you. I promise you that we will take forward this fight to the very end, till we achieve what every single one of us in this room has been fighting so hard for: equality. Rest assured in that fact, for the future is indeed female. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been both a privilege and honor.